Hey everyone, I wanted to finally make another Wizard101 video, so today I decided to do something that I put up a poll for a couple of weeks back of rating each world from Arc 1, 2, 3, and Karamelle for Arc 4. I stopped at Karamelle because I have not gone there yet. I am only level 145, but still the point stands. Lemuria, Novus, whenever I get to them, I might just do like their own little video for them, or if I ever want to revisit this and just redo my ratings, then I'll do them in there. I'll be rating every world from Wizard City to Karamelle, including these side worlds, but also not including the Arcanum, since it's not really much of a world. So without further ado, let's get into this. Obviously, we're starting with Wizard City because, well, world came first. Now, in my opinion, this is the world that I feel needs a bit of changing, because, you know, obviously the membership fee kind of being there, you don't get too far into the game through being stopped, because you can only do Wizard City, Unicorn Way, Shrine Avenue, and that's it. Other than that, you can't do anything else, and you'll have to pay for membership, which honestly I don't as I said, I don't really mind that, but just the annoyance is that, you know, that's the thing. They did do a whole revamp of the Wizard City questline, added in like separate little stuff like how the pets work, giving you a pet that gives you a Maycast talent, which not Maycast, Willcast. I keep mixing those up, but I like that. I also like just mainly how many people you see around here. I would caution you to just sit around here and just watch the people, because it's like a National Geographic thing. You see some of the weirdest people around here. I don't know why. It's calm today, which is good, but you see you got like a old fishing pond and everything. But obviously a lot of people come around here just to talk, and if you have a membership, you can really go anywhere else. Or you can go to like Shopping District, the Bazaar, into Old Town. But for the most part, Wizard City is a solid world. Again, quest-wise, it's easy. You don't really have to worry about it. You can just sit and just play through it. I do like it visually. I like how it's all looking. But also, if you don't like how it looks for some ungodly reason, you can turn on classic mode and give the old classic experience with even the classic music, which I really do like. I would give Wizard City a solid 4.5 out of 5. Because for the most part, it's a solid starting world, nothing to worry about, and it's just good. Next is Krakatopia. Honestly, for me, I was stuck in this world for a long time, since I barely got membership as a kid. But it is a nice world. It's got a lot of sand. It's got a... I would say, though, each section is just kind of repetitive, and also each one kind of themes on one element, with the pyramid over here being fire, the Crocosphinx over here being ice, and the Tomb of Storms being, well, storm. I'd say other than that, though, I don't really have much good to say about this world. It's kind of forgettable, but you do come here 2 more times for 2 side dungeons. One where you talk to Major Talbot to go onto this big ship up here, and the other where you go into Lower Zigzag and just kind of deal with more Mander business there. I don't really have much else to say about this world. It's not one I would really care for much, but I do like the music. But if I were looking for like a sandy world, a world later on does a lot better. But for the most part, I think I'll give Krakatopia a 2 out of 5. I do really hope that they might revamp some of the textures of this place, so they won't look maybe as repetitive in each little section, but I don't know about that. But for the most part, again, it's solid, but just not something I'm that interested in. Next up is, of course, my favorite world in Arc 1 probably, Marleybone. I don't know why, I just honestly really like the vibe of this place. The cars, the buildings, the bosses, everything. There should be... You'll see, like, balloon cars passing by sometimes, but you'll, like, go to each street by going through, and it's really nice. You have a bunch of, like, dogs everywhere, like, gang cats. Sherlock Bones is just a riff on Sherlock Holmes, but, you know, dog, because the whole world's, like, themed around dog and stuff. I love the music as well, and I also love some of, like, the golems and stuff, because I really like those as a kid. Then you also got a riff on Doctor Who over here, which comes from the 5 Boxes event, which I've mentioned before in my Wizard101 video, but for the most part, it's just there. You do come here, I think, one other time to do Azteca, but that's just like a pre-quest. But Other than that, again, this is just one of my favorite worlds. The music is good. The visuals are just amazing, which is why I had gotten the Marleybone Detectives bundle for the cool little gyrocycle that it gives you, where you can just ride on this really big wheel with lights. I really like Marleybone's aesthetic and everything, so I honestly just really love this world out of most of the Arc 1 ones. So I'd give this one a 5 out of 5. Plus I also like the little church thing over here as a fire hydrant. But yeah, again, 5 out of 5. Love this. I love all the castles that it sells here. Again, just a really good world in general. Now we get into another one of my favorite Arc 1 worlds, Mushu. Honestly, when you compare this to Pyre 101's Mushu, it doesn't look as good. Like, Pyre 101 has, like, a bunch of good aesthetics in their Mushu. But obviously, for Mushu and Wizard 101, this one came first, so it obviously doesn't look as good, but it still looks fun. I love the many fights you go through. I love the Onis. I love the little story of, like, Malistaire poisoning the Emperor, and you having to go through each little district and help the town, and slowly heal the Emperor, and just fixing him to get the key to Dragonspire. Other than that, though, I really like the music. The battle music and the Jade Palace music is really nice. You got like a little fishing trainer over here. But yeah, most aesthetics in this place are just really nice. And I love these little, like, rocky pathways. I love the little, like, walls over here. I love these little statues. They look really nice. And I really hope that when they do start to revamp more of the Arc 1 worlds, I hope this world gets a huge improvement. Because I love this world and I want it to look even better. As you can tell, they obviously have been doing some little small changes, like updating the women cow around the world, but they haven't changed the goat people or the samurai or the ninja pigs. But for the most part, I do hope that they maybe update this world with better looks, because I think if it looked like Wizard City and how it just looks a lot better, I think it could be really good. I give this world a 4 out of 5, as it's my second favorite world in Arc 1 entirely, because again, I just like every little aesthetic here, and I did spend a lot of time here. Next up, of course, is none other than Dragonspire, the final world in Arc 1, where you just chase down Malistaire and, you know, make sure it doesn't weaken that big dragon up there. I think that's the dragon? I'm hoping I'm right. But yeah, honestly, this world is really nice. It's a bit much, but honestly, I do like every little section. I do like how you keep coming back here to talk with Cyrus Drake, tell him your little, you know, what happened or so. There's 3 different areas you can go. Prospector Zeke, I think, is down here? Probably, most likely. But yeah, this is just a little starting area. Oh, it's just, oh, the monstrologist person died. I actually didn't know this. I don't come down here too often because I've already completed the, oh. Never mind. But yeah, no, I usually like Dragonspire. I think it's a really nice world. I do like how you see it so destroyed, but in one of the later dungeons, you see how it used to look before the Dragon Titan struck Dragonspire and turned it into the just mess that it is. And obviously the big fight with Malistaire is a perfect ending to the game, where Malistaire finally grieves enough for his wife Sylvia and goes to the afterlife with her until, you know, Azteca, where I don't need to say it, but if you played Arc 2 or played Wizard 101, you would probably already know what happens. If I had to give Dragonspire a rating, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5, as it's probably one of the best ending worlds for an Arc until at least Arc 3, because honestly, I love Imperia, but I'll talk more about it when we get there. So let's begin with Arc 2 worlds now. Actually, before I get into Arc 2, I kind of forgot about Grizzlime, but Grizzlime is a really nice world. You come back here every so often after level 20, do like a bunch of like different little areas, and you have to go down here, fight some really tough bosses. Then you go over here to fight the Ravens, and then soon enough when you reach level 50, you'll have to come back here and you'll go on the ship here and sail to the second part of Grizzlime, Wintertusk, where it's a lot more tougher and a lot more just crazy. You'll have like different areas, and then you'll have like a big dungeon right here, and it's very hard. I was able to solo it with Waterworks gear, but it is still very difficult for anyone who's starting out the game for the first time. But yeah, no, I really like Grizzlime. I really like its aesthetics and everything. I do like the look of these bears. I don't know. It's like, I really like this. I like this world. Because I like the characters. I like the story. It's sort of like a junk food world where you just come back to it every single once in a while and be like, oh, I got new stuff to do here. Or it's just really nice. And you do come here a little bit before level 20 if you do talk to the main bear guy in Old Town to set up trade deals between Wizard City and Grizzleheim. Also, another positive or weird thing you could say is that, yeah, Nick Jonas is here. Because if you didn't know, Nick Jonas actually composed the music for Winter Dusk. Which I find just really random that Wizard101 collabed with Selena Gomez and Nick Jonas. I don't know, it's just weird. So Nick Jonas is stuck here for all eternity with these trumpet vines. So I'd give Grizzleheim a solid 4 out of 5. It's a good little world you can go to and just do some stuff. Next, we have another side world that you can access sometime to Arc 1, Wisteria. Honestly, this world is really short. Nothing to it. Just kind of simple stuff where you go to do like a school competition. Crazy stuff goes on. You're blamed for something. Fix the problem. Yada yada yada. It's a world full of pigs and like other animals. And back when this world first actually released, some of the competitors you went up against kind of referenced later worlds that wouldn't be released for a while, like Avalon, Mirage. It was really nice. Or then another reason you would probably come here later on is to get cantrips from Hampshire Buttersfield, which is a weird name. Other than cantrips, I really wish they had used this world for maybe like bonus spells, like maybe after beating the whole Mysterian story, you would maybe get contacted by the school that best fits you, and the school would be like, oh, hi, you want to learn some exclusive spells? Well, you saved Wisteria, so sure, we'll let you. And yeah, it's like their own little school, their own little Ravenwood with their own little headmaster or headmistress. But yeah, for the most part, it's honestly a really nice little world. It doesn't really give you that much XP, I think. But for completing it, you do get a nice little trophy for your castle. I think this world is referenced 2 times through 2 separate gauntlets. One is where you just go into Wisteria and stop some like big grass guy. I think another one is where you have to save the headmistress and the duel master. I don't remember. I don't do many of the gauntlets, so I don't know. But I would give Wisteria a solid 3 out of 5. I would just recommend doing it because you'll get XP either way. But it's not that hard. It's also really short. You could just probably knock it out in about an hour or so. But still, really good world. Love the aesthetics. Now we get into Celestia. Probably the world that I had a rough opinion on at first, I think. But I think after time, after I started to understood more of this world, I think I can give it a bit of a pass. But for the most part, it's a whole world that takes place underwater in this little, like, explorer civilization where they're starting to, like, dig up, like, stuff about the actual schools, which is where you learn spells like that enhance your school and stuff. You'll learn them over here. You'll have stuff like, I think, yeah, like accuracy boosters or polymorphs from the Moon School. And I think the Star School just does, like, auras and stuff. I don't know why I can't talk to it. But you get my point. Obviously, you come here to do the start of Arc 2, where you meet Morganth and cause some chaos. I do like some of their little, like, robots here. And I do like the water moles that are above ground. I think for the most part, I think it's a bit of a difficulty curve. But once you get Waterworks gear, it's a pushover. Honestly, I still am not sure about Celestia. I do think it's a good world. I just don't think it's my favorite. It's not low, but it's not good either. I'd give it a 2.5 out of 5. Obviously, again, I do like the... Again, like, look at these. I would love this as, like, a pet or a, mount. But, again, solid world. It's okay. The music is nice, but again, just a bit of a curved difficulty spike. As I said, though, once you get Waterworks gear, this world becomes a lot more easier, because, again, a lot of these fights are kind of annoying, but still, like I said, it's an okay world. I do like the underwater sections and the crabs. Now we get into probably the world that I think is the most overhated, but also underappreciated world of Zafaria. Honestly, when I first played through this world, I didn't hate it. I've heard a lot of people like talk crap about it. Like, obviously, maybe some of the fights are a bit much, and you do fight the Greyhorn mercenaries a bit too much. But honestly, I like the story, I like the characters, and I do love the music here. Like the battle music, the little hub world music here, it's really nice. I also really like Inyaga White Stripes, the Witch Doctor over there. He's probably one of my favorite characters in this game. But also, for the most part, I do like the sunset. The nice, like, reddish, yellowish sky really looks nice. The whole story here is really cool as well. And honestly, again, like I said, I think this is still one of my favorite worlds. I think it just gets underappreciated by so many people because of the quest, but also just because of a lot of things. So honestly, I think I would give Zafaria a 4.5 out of 10. I don't know why dude is over here is a wooden golem. I guess that's because I haven't just come here in a while and he needs to probably reload, but again, my point stands. 4 out of 5 for Zafaria. Love it. Underappreciated. Needs more respect. Up next is another one of my favorite worlds in Arc 2, Avalon. Honestly, I really like the idea of Avalon being like a medieval knight thing where you go talk to each knight, try to get like a cool sort of kings to try and defeat Morganth, but also just go around recruiting all the knights of the Silver Rose and making sure everyone is all protected and everything. I like this a lot. And honestly, a lot of the fights here are very tough though. Like Jabberwock is probably one of the more tougher bosses for anyone as a fighter because he has just a ton of resist, so that means you can't hit him with regular fire spells. You'll need like a prism on it. But yeah, no, this world's really nice in my opinion. You do come here a little bit, and there's like a little like nice little building over here that you can go talk to, and then once you defeat the next world after this, you get like a really cool strong spell. And it's also one of my favorite ones, and it's really strong. For Avalon, I think I would give it a 4 out of 5. It is another one of my favorite worlds. I love the aesthetic, love the music, and honestly, I really love this fountain here. It's kind of water though. I don't know why. That's odd, but I like the little starting section you had here with like the teleporters take you to like each section. This little like main circle here. And what's also nice is that this is actually the world where Merle Ambrose and Gamma originated, which is also nice to add to the lore. But again, I give this world a 4 out of 5. Probably one of my favorites of Arc 2. Next up is the second to last world in Arc 2, Azteca. Honestly, if you ask me, this world, it's a bit much, but honestly, it's a really nice world. I love all these dinosaur characters. The spells you get here are pretty good. The threat of everything is kind of crazy where, well, obviously won't stay here, but where that big vortex is, it's just a giant meteor that would come crashing down. But you would defeat Morganth and, well, the meteor would start to shower and kind of break into pieces, which is why the Azteca world is kind of in a bit of a post-apocalyptic phase after you beat it, which is sad because I honestly really wish there's a way that you could turn this on, turn this off, because I really liked the Azteca music before, because everywhere you go to there's like unique music, but now for Azteca, after you beat it, the music is all the same through each section. But again, I also like the enemies here. The story here is also pretty nice, of it being one of the first worlds to ever come into existence, and people thought it was lost forever. I don't know what else to really say about it. Are them bringing back Malistaire, which a lot of people didn't like, but honestly, I don't think really affects me that much. I would give Azteca a 3 out of 5. It's good. I'd say it's better than Celestia at the very least, but for the most part, it's above Celestia, but Celestia is still the world that I think is the least of my favorites in Arc 2. And lastly, for Arc 2, we have probably the longest world in the game that a lot of people find to be absolutely painful to go through, and that is Chrysalis. Honestly, if you ask me, I do agree that the world is very, very long, and that honestly, soloing through most of it, it's kind of a pain. I should know, I kind of went through that, and I just it wasn't that fun. But again, that doesn't mean the world is bad. I absolutely love this world. I love the little, like, mouse characters. I love Divin Whiteheart. Honestly, one of my favorite characters in Arc 2. And I really do hope that if they do continue to make plushies for the Wizard101 characters, Divim needs to happen. Like, no thought about it. Because honestly, he's a popular character. He was a little bit in Arc 4. Like, right here, you would start a little quest, but that's something that you'll get into if you'll start Arc 4. But this world is split into 2 parts, where after part 1, like, you had to wait a bit, then part 2 came out, and a lot more was added, where then you defeat Morganth, but then obviously something happens, and Arc 3 would just happen. But I think this world's really cool. I love the whole story of, like, these bugs taking over this whole, like, place. I like the idea of, like, a lot of things, and I love the music here. It's very nice. The various, like, little bugs that you fight, but also, like, the various things that happen are really cool. And I also like these little, like, portals that you take around each world section. Honestly, again, this world's really cool, and honestly, I think it's overhated. Like, yeah, it's long, but honestly, it's a good world. If I would have to give Chrysalis a review, I would say it would get a 4 out of 5. Because again, yes, it's a bit long, but honestly, it gives a lot of time to flesh out this whole world, and also kind of like start up the villain for Arc 3, but also maybe explain what Morganth's history was, kind of like with Malistaire. So, with Arc 2 out of the way, let's get into Arc 3 worlds, which won't be too long, since there's only 3, I believe. Starting with the first world in Arc 3, Polaris, I think this world is pretty down the middle for me, as I really love the penguins, because penguins are my favorite animal. I played Club Penguin as a kid. I just love these little guys. But yeah, no, you would start, the world wouldn't be so happy. It's a dictatorship, you'd have to take down the queen and everything. But honestly, then you would get into, like, the whole, like, actual, like, main villain of this world, where they're trying to rip apart the spiral by destroying some anchor thing. But anyways, again, this whole world's really fun. I love the dialogue. I love the little characters that you meet along the way. And honestly, again, unlike with Chrysalis, a lot of people say that this world is a bit too short when it comes to, like, people talking about it. It's short, but it's also, to my opinion, very, very tough. Where if you didn't get the Malistaire gear from a later dungeon that is at level 100, you would have a rough time like I did. But once I got the Malistaire gear, it was kind of a breeze, was pretty nice. I do wish it was a bit longer, but it didn't overstay its welcome either, which is really nice. So, honestly, I would give Polaris a 3.5 out of 5. Again, love the penguins. I love the snow everywhere. And I love the little happy, liberating music. It's just very nice. Now we probably get into one of my all-time favorites. Like, Marleybone, I love it. Avalon, okay, pretty cool. But Mirage, in my opinion, is the best world. No questions asked. Yes, some of the fights are a bit tough, but I think for the most part, this world is amazing. And honestly, for Carcatopia, it does like a whole, like, desert theme really okay. But I think Mirage does it insanely better. Like, you have different little factions of, like, camels, cats, and other things. You have an overlord you gotta, like, defeat, who's actually, like, a son of, like, the main bad guy of Arc 3. You even have, like, genies around, and there's also one that's actually based off Mr. Clean, which I think is probably the funniest part about this world. But that's not the only references, there's, like, a bunch of, like, other references and stuff. But again, I think this world's one of my favorites. It's pretty long, too. It's not too long as Chrysalis, but it's also not short. Because I liked all the areas, I liked all the characters. The voice actors in this game are amazing. And again, this world it's just so nice. I love the music. I like the little references here and there, like Pac-Man. It's very funny. And again, just the characters you go through and all the stuff you do. you slowly see how it starts to affect this whole, like, world and how you save it all. And it's really nice. So, I think for Mirage, I would already give it a 5 out of 5. No questions asked. I might be a bit biased because, again, I do think this world's really cool. The final boss is crazy. And, you know, again, the fights are just really cool. So, again, honestly, my favorite world of all time is just Mirage. Like, just no questions asked. I love everything about this world. Then, for the final world of Arc 3, you have Imperia, which is split into, like Chrysalis, 2 parts. Where one part you would start and have to go through this world, try to find Mallory, who is a character you meet throughout the way, and just kind of like go through stuff. Honestly, again, I would say for the starting area for Imperia, honestly, it's okay. I kind of got really bored of this place, so I'm really happy that I was able to kind of like speed through it. Because the later areas in Imperia are just amazing. Because, like, you got Xanadu, which is, like, a whole, like, town of, like, people called the Alfoys and shadow monsters and all this. It's really awesome. And again, like, this, like, whole place is just really cool. And I love these little, like, Alfoy characters, which kind of remind me of the Gobblers, which, if you've played Karamelle, you'll understand what I mean. Honestly, Xanadu is one of my favorite places when it comes to talking about Imperia. But it's second best to what I think is one of my favorite areas in Imperia, being frickin' Port Arrow. Because, like, honestly to me, I really like the dwarves. But also, just, like, the sky is so nice and blue. The buildings are just really cool. But also, it's like these cool little robots that they have scattered about. The big open landscape to fight monsters in. And just the quests here are just really nice. And, like, honestly, I just love this part. Like, yeah, you have to go through, like, a really extremely, like, annoying minigame to go through, like, one of the quests. But that is just a small little setback on this. Because, again, Port Arrow, one of my favorite sections of Imperia. But, of course, that's not the ending section. But when it gets to it, it's very intense. Because when you get to Husk, that's when the literal crap hits the fan, because all these shadow creatures, all these light creatures are fighting each other because either Grandmother Raven or Grandfather Spider wants to destroy the Spider before they do, and slowly they have to reconnect each other to their love before a whole, like, Titan thing fights them. So, honestly, for an ending world, Imperia is the best. No questions asked. I would give Imperia a 4.5 out of 10. Honestly, yeah, it's a bit long as well, but I think it makes up for it in all the creativity of the characters, the areas, and again, in my opinion, it's perfect. It's good, but it's not, like, perfect, I would say. Last but not least on this list is Karamelle, which, for a starting world for Arc 4, I love the aesthetic of this place. It's like a whole, like, candy factory place with, like, a bunch of workers that... I think these are hamsters. I might be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, you see, like, a bunch of other, like, people from the Spiral here. You see Manders, Marleybonians. You even see a dinosaur from Azteca over here, which is pretty interesting. You see also someone from Mirage, I almost said Azteca, Zafaria, Mushu. It's also that mount from the bundle that Caramelle's based off is really cool. But yeah, for the most part, honestly, Caramelle's just a really fun world. I love the little enemies. Like, if I go to this area over here, the Gumdrop Forest, you can, like, see all, like, the candy themes. It's like a bunch of, like, colorful stuff. It's a really nice world. It's even got, like, a dark undertone to it where, like, bad stuff is happening. But, like, also you have these cute little enemies that are, like, little marshmallow guys that are on fire. And the spells that you get from this world are really cool. Or, well, the spell, I mean. Because, you know, there's only one spell in this world. But, again, I think for the most part, Karamelle is a great starting world for me. Because, again, the theming is nice. I love the aesthetic. It's nice and colorful, but it's also got that dark undertone of a evil corporation that's just doing bad stuff that, you know, obviously a group wants to unionize against it. And there's like a whole, like, area over there. Then you got, like, 3 difficult bosses. And you have the whole, like, mysteriousness of, like, you know, like, what's going on with these little, like, dark portals opening up called cavities. Again, I think this is a solid world in itself. I would give this world a 4.5 out of 10. I would give this world a 4.5 out of 5. Because, again, the aesthetics itself, I love the candy things. I love that the loading screen here is just an advertisement for Nana's candy and stuff. And, again, all the different little spiral people around. But, again, 4.5 out of 5. One of my favorite worlds in Arc 4, but also the only one we're talking about because, you know, I haven't been in Karamelle yet exactly, but I know enough to at least say that Karamelle is, you know, pretty good, and I can at least give it my own opinion going on. But yeah, that's me rating all the worlds up from Wizard City, from Arc 1, from all the way to Karamelle, the starting world of Arc 4. Now again, I'm not putting the Arcanum on this list because it's not really much of a world, as it's more of like a little mini hub world for like new spells you can learn, crafting and stuff, but also just, it's mostly the starting place for most of the arcs, for most of the worlds in Arc 3 after you unlock it, and also Arc 4. But if I had to rank the Arcanum, because I know a lot of people are probably going to be asking me, like, oh, why don't you just rank it? If I had to, I would give it a 4 out of 5. It's still really cool. I love each of the little scholars here. Fitzhume's really funny, and I like him as a character. And I think my favorite has to be Ignis Ferric, but obviously I'm probably biased because I'm a fire wizard. But still, I think for the most part, this whole place is really nice. And after some time in Mirage, you actually get access to your own little Arcanum apartment. It's really cool. You can decorate the way you want. And obviously I kind of just use this for pet storage or gear and jewel stuff. If you have any ideas on future Wizard101 videos I could do, I would really appreciate people commenting them, because I would love to do more content for Wizard101, because again, I've played this game since 2010, so I'm really passionate about it. But also, I would love to do, like, Pirate 101 content if I ever had the chance. But I think for the most part, I want to stick to Wizard101 for right now, along with my other content. But anyways, again, like I said, that is it. Those are my rankings for all the worlds. I should have probably made them into, like, a tier list and kind of talked about that. But I thought this was just a lot more easier, just to go through each world at a time, give my kind of thoughts about it, and rate them out of 5. Again, if you liked it, like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that is.